Alright, so this is something that's been in the works for like a couple days or so. So, SteelOS is basically dead. Its code is complicated, and I don't think I can ever finish it because because I don't think I have the motivation to finish it. So, instead of trying to finish a release of SteelOS, I'm going to generally start from scratch with a project called OpenSteelEnvy. Now you can see here that I have a folder containing some shortcuts to some applications. So, before I go into anything, OpenSteelEnvy was initially supposed to be based off of SteelOS, but I realized SteelOS, which I chose SteelOS 2.3, which isn't as complicated, but it's still very messy. So I decided to go start from scratch. Once the Internet Archive is back up and running, I'm going to probably archive all of the SteelOS builds and some useful SteelOS resources, if anyone wants to create a fork of a specific build. But let me go and drag something over here. So I want to briefly show you what I had prior to basically starting from scratch. This is build 1623 of OpenSteelEnvy 2.31. So as you'll shortly see, I basically redesigned the lock screen. And there were some slight updates to the visual theme, but this is as far as I got. I also managed to fix a bug in the calculator, but this is basically just, I don't know. So, that's that. Now, some of the things with OpenSteelEnvy are I added some changes, and its windowing system is a bit more advanced. I want to briefly touch up on how I managed to get to the point that you're going to see in a hopefully not too much later in this. So it started all back in like July with this thing, which is, give it a second. So as you can see, this is basically a really simple thing. It's got two windows which both have buttons that say DRG. The other two buttons don't work. But how it focuses windows is not even close to perfect. And you can also notice this. And also, this happens when I do this. It basically, if I drag a window and this button over another Windows button and drag button, it basically collects that window with it. And you can't get it back. So I'll just hit shutdown here. And there was another project from a bit later which implemented things a little bit differently. This is called Project Nova Carbonium, and it actually had some potential for some time. In here, there's actually some functions that other projects of mine didn't have. But as you can see, we can drag a window around. Can minimize it. This, that. But once I was going to implement more applications, that's when the problem started to come up. Because I didn't know how to make a window go to the front and whatnot. So let's go shut this down. But I figured that out, and I also managed to set up functions for everything that basically are the same for each program. Which is actually a bit complicated, but it makes things a little more organized in general. You won't really see that because it's in the code, and but well, yeah. So I haven't run this on my system yet, so yeah. Here is it. So I haven't made a lot of progress on this, but the text is rendered separately to how. But the text is basically its own thing in this. But as you can see, we've got two windows, and if I do this, you can see it doesn't get caught on that. Now there's still some problems, particularly here. Like, it assumes that you want the center of the window, or that you're clicking on that, and that can lead to some problems. That's something that will be fixed. But while this isn't very useful right now, it's something. Oh yeah, it seems like there are some problems. However, do note that these two applications aren't going to be permanently in here. They're generally just for testing things. So, there you go. Gonna be working on this a bit more, but yeah.